The night was cold and still. Derek had just landed his small survey craft on a quiet forest moon. He was supposed to map the land and collect samples. No danger, just another calm job. But something felt strange. His ship's scanners picked up heat signals, not animals, not plants. Something was moving just beyond the trees. Derek stepped out, his boots crunching the soft, silver-blue leaves. He heard a sound, soft and fast, running, maybe stumbling. He turned on his shoulder light. Then, he saw him, a small alien boyskin, pale green. Eyes wide and glowing with fear. His clothes were torn, face dirty. He looked no older than 7 inhuman years. "Stop," Derek said gently, raising his hands. "I won't hurt you." The boy froze, breathing hard. His chest rose and fell, like he'd been running for hours. "Please," the boy gasped. "My mom is stuck. Please help her, human." Derek blinked. The boy spoke rough, broken English, but the fear and urgency in his voice were clear. "Where is she?" Derek asked, stepping forward. The boy turned and pointed into the dark forest. "Cave? Rocks fell," he said. "She can't move. She told me to run." Derek's instincts kicked in. He grabbed his medkit and a scanner from the ship. "Lead the way," he said. They ran through the forest. The boy kept looking back to make sure Derek was still there. "Name is Cal," the boy said breathlessly. "My mom. Her name is Vela." Cal's legs were trembling. But he kept going. The forest was thick, glowing bugs flitting through the leaves. Strange bird sounds echoed around them. After 10 minutes, they reached the cave. The entrance was half blocked by a pile of sharp rocks. Derek scanned the rubble. There was a living body underneath. "She's alive," he said, "but her leg is trapped." Cal crouched beside the rocks, tears in his glowing eyes. "Please, save her." Derek set down his gear. "I'll try," he said. He used a small energy cutter to slice through the rocks. It was slow work, and he had to be careful not to cause a cave-in. "Talk to her," Derek told Cal. "Let her know we're here." Cal leaned toward the opening. "Mom, it's me. I brought help." A weak voice came from inside. "Cal, you're safe." Derek worked faster, sweat running down his neck. He didn't ask why they were here. Why an alien mother and her child were alone on this moon right now. The only thing that mattered was getting her out. The rocks finally gave way. Derek pulled away the last slab and saw her tall, elegant, with silvery skin and long dark hair matted with dirt. Her leg was twisted beneath a heavy stone. "I need to lift it," Derek said. "Cal, hold her hand." The boy nodded and took his mother's hand tightly. Derek braced himself and used a lifter pad to raise the stone the moment it moved. Vela let out a cry of pain. Her leg was badly broken, but she was free. Derek gave her a pain patch and started treating the wound. "Oh." She looked at him with tired, grateful eyes. "You are human," she whispered. "Yes," Derek said. "I was just passing through. Thank you," she said. "You saved my son and me." But then a sound echoed from deep inside the cave. A slow, heavy scraping. Derek froze. Cal's eyes went wide again. "No," Cal whispered. "They followed us." "Who?" Derek asked, standing quickly. Vela grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "The hunters," she said. "They want us dead." Derek looked back into the dark cave. Something was coming, and whatever it wasn't friendly. He grabbed Cal and helped Vela to her feet. "We need to move, now." As they stumbled out of the cave, the scraping grew louder, and behind them, glowing red eyes blinked in the darkness. The night grew colder as they left the cave. Derek kept one arm around Vela, helping her walk. Cal held a small flashlight, shining it ahead through the trees, but none of them looked back. They could still hear the scraping, still feel the presence following them. What are those things? Derek asked as they moved. Hunters, Vela said quietly. They smell blood. They hunt the weak. Derek frowned. Why were they after you in the first place? But Vela didn't answer. She was in pain, and her eyes kept closing from exhaustion. We have to hide, Cal said. They never stop until they find you. All right, Derek said, trying to stay calm. My ship's not too far. We just need to make it back. The forest was alive with strange sounds. But now, everything seemed silent. Too silent. Suddenly, a branch snapped behind them. Derek spun around, flashlight aimed. Nothing, just darkness. But then, 2 red eyes. Opened just for a second, then vanished. They're close, Cal whispered. I can smell them too. Derek quickened his pace. He pulled out a small blaster from his belt. He wasn't a soldier, but he knew how to shoot. The air felt heavy, like something terrible was coming. They walked for 20 more minutes, step by step, watching every shadow. Derek's ship beacon blinked in the distance. Finally, they were close. There, Derek said, pointing. My ship once we get inside, I can lift off. But just as they stepped into the clearing, something leaped from the trees. It was fast, almost invisible. Derek fired without thinking. The blast lit the air but missed. The creature landed in front of them, tall, thin, with sharp limbs and armor-like skin. Its face had no mouth, just a glowing mask of bone. And it let out a hiss that made Cal scream. Derek raised his weapon again. But the creature swung a claw. The blaster flew from his hand. He fell to the ground, dazed. Vela stood in front of Cal, trying to shield him with her body. Even with a broken leg, she showed no fear. The creature hissed again, but before it could strike, a loud alarm blared from Derek's ship. Motion sensors. The lights flashed, and loudspeakers shouted warnings. The creature twitched, distracted for a moment. That was all Derek needed. He rolled to his side, grabbed his blaster, and fired again. This time, the bolt hit. The creature shrieked and vanished into the trees. Not dead, but wounded. Inside, now. Derek shouted. He helped Vela up the ramp. Cal right behind. As soon as the door sealed shut, Derek slammed his hand on the controls. The engines roared to life. The ship lifted slowly. But from the windows, Derek saw more shapes moving in the woods. Are there more of them? He asked. Yes, Vela whispered, lying back in one of the chairs. They never hunt alone. The ship shook as something slammed against it. Derek pushed the engines harder. Come on, he muttered. The ship finally broke through the trees and rose into the sky. Below them, the forest swarmed with shadows. They were just in time. Derek turned and checked on Cal. The boy was breathing hard, his hands shaking, but he was safe. You okay? Derek asked. Cal nodded, eyes full of fear, but also hope. Thank you, he said. You saved us. Vela looked up slowly. Her face was pale, her voice weak. Where are we going? Derek sighed and leaned back in the pilot's seat. First, I'll patch up your leg. Then we'll head to the nearest safe zone. You need a doctor. And a place to rest. There's no safe place, Vela whispered. They will follow us. But why? Derek asked. Turning toward her, why are they after you and your son? There was a long pause. Cal looked at his mother. She gave a small nod. We escaped, Cal said, from a place where people like us are taken. Vela spoke next, voice filled with pain. They took us from our home, called us inferior, locked us in camps. Cal was born there. They experiment, she said softly. Those hunters, they are not natural. They are made. Derek felt anger rising inside him. He had heard rumors, whispers of alien research facilities hidden on moons and forgotten planets. Places where lives were treated like tools. But this, This was worse than anything he had imagined. "We ran," Vela said. "Stole a ship, but crashed here." Derek nodded. "You did the right thing. You survived." Cal came closer and sat beside. "Derek, will you help us now?" Derek looked at the boy. He didn't have to think long. "Yes," he said. "You're not alone anymore." Suddenly, a warning light flashed. The radar picked up 2 ships entering the system. They weren't marked, but they were fast. Too fast. "They found us," Vela said weakly. Her eyes filled with fear again. Derek stood and took the controls. "Then we run faster," he said. He turned the ship, pushed the throttle, and launched them into the clouds. Behind them, the 2 dark ships followed, hunting without mercy. But this time, Derek was ready. And he wasn't going to let them take the boy or his mother, not while he was alive. The ship shook as Derek pulled it higher into the sky. The 2 dark ships were gaining on them. They were sleek, fast, and clearly built for hunting. Derek gritted his teeth and pressed more power into the engines, but his survey ship wasn't made for speed. It was made for landing on strange planets and scanning soil. "Not dodging killers in the stars. We need to lose them," he said. Cal sat beside him, his small hands gripping the edge of the console. Vela was strapped to a seat in the back. Still in pain, her eyes opened slowly. "They won't stop. Not until we're dead or back in chains," she whispered. "Not happening," Derek said firmly. He opened the nav map. "Nearest station is an old cargo dock 2 systems away. Is it safe?" Cal asked. Derek hesitated. "Maybe," he said. "Safer than here." A loud blast hit the back of the ship. Sparks flew across the cockpit. Shields down to 60%. The ship's voice said, "They're firing on us." Cal cried. "I know." Derek shouted, spinning the controls. He dove the ship through a thick asteroid belt. Rocks floated everywhere. Big ones, small ones, some spinning fast. It was dangerous, but it was their only chance. Behind them, the 2 hunter ships followed. They dodged the rocks like they knew the path. "They've been here before," Derek muttered. "They're trained for this." Another blast hit them closer this time. The whole ship jolted. Vela groaned in pain. Cal turned toward her. "Hold on, Mom. We're getting away." Derek flew between 2 massive asteroids. The space between them was so tight the wings almost scraped. The hunter ship slowed. Just a little. Derek smiled. He had an idea. He looked at Cal. "You trust me?" Cal nodded fast. "Good," Derek said. "Hit that button when I say now." Cal moved to the glowing red button on the dashboard. Derek pulled the ship toward a narrow tunnel inside a large asteroid. It was dark, tight, and full of spinning debris. "Now?" Derek shouted. Cal slammed the button. The ship released a burst of heat flares and metal chaff. The hunter ships flew right into the mess. One of them clipped a spinning rock and lost control. Derek didn't wait to see if it recovered. He pushed the engines to the limit and shot out of the tunnel. Only 1 ship was still behind them now, but it was angry. "Almost there," Derek muttered. The ship's engine was overheating. Warning lights flashing, but the cargo dock was close. They could see it now, a giant floating platform near a dead planet. The old station didn't have defense weapons, but it had thick metal walls. If they could dock and get inside, they might be safe for a while. Derek sent a signal. "This is civilian ship 417 requesting emergency docking." No response. "Come on," he muttered. The hunter ship fired again. The blast hit the side, and half the lights in the cockpit went out. Vela screamed from the back. Cal held her tightly, tears in his eyes. "Please," he whispered. "Please let us in." Suddenly, a crackling voice answered on the comm. 417, docking port 3 is open. Get inside fast." Derek didn't wait. He turned the ship sharply and aimed for the open port, the hunter ship. Fired again, missed by inches, they flew into the docking tunnel. The door sealed behind them. The hunter ship slammed into the outside. Unable to enter, Derek shut off the engines and leaned back. Breathing hard, they made it. Cal ran to his mother and hugged her. Vela held him close. Her voice trembling. "We're safe for now." A group of workers ran into the docking bay. Humans, mechanics, and engineers. They looked surprised, too. See an alien woman and child, but they didn't ask questions. One of them came forward. "I'm Rena, station chief," she said. "You were being chased. We saw it." Derek nodded. "Thanks for letting us in." Rena looked at Vela. Then, at Cal, "Are they refugees?" "They're survivors," Derek said. "They need help and protection." Rena frowned. "This station doesn't get involved in wars. This is neutral space. They weren't running from a war." Derek said, "They were running." "From monsters?" Rena looked at him closely, then gave a short nod. "Fine. They can stay for now. We'll hide your ship in the lower hangar." As Derek helped Vela into the station medbay, he knew this was only a pause. The hunters wouldn't give up. They were built to track, to chase, to kill. He sat by Vela's bed as the med drones worked on her leg. Cal held her hand and looked at Derek with hope. "Are we really safe now?" he asked. Derek didn't answer right away. He looked at the metal ceiling, then at the closed hangar doors. "We bought some time," he said, "but we'll need more than that." The medbay lights were soft and blue. Machines beeped quietly as they worked on Vela's broken leg. Derek sat beside her bed, arms crossed, eyes watching every scan. Cal sat on the floor near the wall, too tired to speak, but too scared too. Sleep. The silence inside the room felt heavy. Vela opened her eyes slowly. Her face looked pale, but her breathing was steady. "You're safe now," Derek said softly. "We made it to the cargo station." She nodded once. "Thank you." She whispered, "You didn't have to help us." Derek shook his head. "You asked," he said, "and your son." "He reminded me of someone." Vela looked at Cal. The boy had curled into a blanket but still kept one eye open. "He's strong," she said. "Stronger than me sometimes." Derek leaned forward. "I need to know something," he said. "You told me they took you to a camp. Who are they?" Vala's eyes turned away. For a while she said nothing. Then her voice came low and filled with pain. "My people," she began. "They come from a world called Terranai. We are known for peace, for logic, for control. But there's a secret side," she continued, "one that no one talks about." Derek didn't interrupt. He just listened. "When someone is born different," she said, "too emotional, too strong, or with strange gifts, we call them unfit. The unfit are taken as children, sent to special facilities." Her hands trembled as she spoke. "I was one of them." Derek leaned forward. "They took you?" "Yes," she said. "I was 12 when they came. They said I had too much empathy, that I cried too easily. They said I'd make others weak, so they sent me away. To a place deep underground, no sunlight, no music, no choices." Derek felt something twist in his chest. "What did they do to you?" he asked. "They studied us," she said, "made us do tasks, tested our pain limits, us. Some disappeared after surgeries, others came back with eyes that didn't blink anymore." She looked down. "They wanted to control our emotions, erase our instincts, and Cal." Derek asked. Vela nodded slowly. "He was born there. I met another unfit man. We were forced to work together. We loved each other," she said. "They found out, took him away. I never saw him again." Tears slipped down her face. "I was scared they'd take Cal next, so I planned our escape." "How did you do it?" Derek asked. "I worked in the data room," she said. "I found a guard who still had a heart. He gave us 10 minutes to run. We stole a broken ship and fled." But it didn't get far. We crashed on that forest moon, Derek. Sat back, taking it all in. Everything she said sounded like a nightmare. But the fear in her voice was real. The scars on her arms were real. This wasn't just a story. Cal suddenly spoke. They called my mom weak, he said softly, but she was the only one strong enough to fight. Derek looked at him. You're brave too. Cal didn't smile. Instead, he looked at the door. Do you think they'll find us again? They're trying, Derek replied. But we have more help now. Later that night, Rena, the station chief, entered the med bay. Her face was serious. We scanned your ship, she said to Derek. There was a tracking device under the main engine. Derek stood. So that's how they followed us. We destroyed it, Rena said. But if they're this determined, they'll find other ways. We don't have much time, Vela said. They'll send more hunters. Rena crossed her arms. This station doesn't have weapons, but we do have an old cargo ship. It's fast, stronger than your little scout. Derek raised a brow. You want me to take it? No, Rena said. I want you to use it to get them far away. Derek looked at Vela and Cal. They both looked tired, broken, and alone. But also full of hope. I'll do it, Derek said. But I need coordinates. Places where they can't be found. There's a human colony out past the Varn line. Rena said, small, quiet, off the grid. They protect anyone who needs help. Good, Derek nodded. We'll go there. Rena handed him a small chip. Coordinates, clear codes. And supply access, you'll only get one. Shot once, they know you're moving. They'll follow again. Derek took the chip. We won't waste it. That night, Cal sat near the window of the medbay. He looked out at the stars, small fingers pressed against the glass. Do you think my dad is still alive? He asked. Vela looked at the stars too. I don't know, she whispered, but I hope so. Derek stood in the doorway, listening. He didn't say anything, but inside. He promised himself one thing: he would get them to safety, no matter what. The cargo ship hummed as its engines warmed up. Derek stood in the cockpit, hands on the controls behind him. Cal sat in the co-pilot's seat, wide-eyed but calm. Vela rested in a padded chair, her leg wrapped in healing. She was still weak, but stronger than before. Are we really going? Cal asked softly. Derek nodded. Yes, he said. We leave in 5 minutes. The cargo bay was full of supplies, food, fuel, and medkits. Rena and her crew had helped quietly. No questions, no hesitation. They'll know we're gone soon. Vela said. They always know. Then we just need to stay ahead, Derek replied. He uploaded the route to the hidden human colony. It was far, across empty space, past old trade routes. The perfect place to disappear. The engines roared softly as Derek lifted the ship from the station hangar. Rena's voice came through the comm. Good luck, all of you. Thank you, Derek replied. Then the ship turned and vanished into the dark sky. They were alone again. Hours passed in silence. Stars flew by the windows. Cal pressed his nose to the glass. I've never been this far, he said. I've never even seen real space like this. Derek smiled faintly. Well, there's a lot of stars left to see. Vela sat back with her eyes half closed, but she didn't sleep. Not completely. Her mind stayed alert, always listening for the sound of pursuit. Derek ran silent scans every hour. No sign of hunter ships, no strange signals. But he didn't relax. Do you think they're still looking? Cal asked one night. Yes, Derek said honestly, but they haven't found us yet. A few more days passed. Then, without warning, the alarm beeped. Derek shot up from his chair. What is it? Vela asked, her voice tight. Derek looked at the screen. Unknown ship behind us, he said. It's too far to scan fully, but it's coming fast. Cal's eyes went wide. Is it them? I don't know yet, Derek said, but I'm not taking chances. He changed the ship's course. A sharp turn left and down into a nearby asteroid field. The ship shook as it entered the cluster of floating rocks. Each asteroid big enough to crush them if they hit one. Hold tight, Derek said. The cargo ship weaved between the slow-turning rocks. Cal gripped the seat. Vela closed her eyes and focused on breathing. The scanner beeped again. The unknown ship was following them, getting closer. It's them, Vela whispered. I can feel it. Derek didn't argue. He pushed the engines harder. But the cargo ship wasn't made for sharp turns or fast escapes. One of the bigger asteroids turned suddenly, the ship grazed it, sparks flew. Warning lights flashed on the dashboard. We lost a stabilizer, Derek said, but we're still flying. Cal looked behind them. Can't we hide? He asked, can't we just stop and be quiet? No, Derek said. They'll scan the whole field. They always do. We need a place they won't scan. Vela said quietly, a place they think no one would go. Derek stared. At the star map, there's something close. He said, a dead planet full of storms and lightning. Hard to land, hard to scan. Cal nodded quickly. Let's go there. Derek turned the ship toward the storm planet. The air grew thicker as they entered orbit. Lightning flashed across the dark clouds below. The ship shook harder with every mile down. You sure this is a good idea? Derek asked. No, Vela said, but it's all we've got. The storm hit them hard. Winds howled outside the ship. Lightning struck near the wings, but the ship held together. They found a rocky mountainside and landed between tall, black cliffs. The area was covered with metal dust and strange crystals. It looked like a place long forgotten. Derek powered down the engines. Now we wait, he said. They turned off every system except the air filters. The ship went dark. Just silence and the soft hum of machines keeping them alive. They waited for hours. Then the sensors picked up movement. A ship flew above them, silent and slow. It hovered for a long time, scanning the area. But the storm interfered with its signals. Finally, it turned and left. Vela let out a deep breath. They didn't find us, she said. Not this time, Cal. Smiled for the first time in days. Maybe they'll give up now. Derek wasn't sure. He stared at the sky. They won't, he said quietly. But we're not giving up either. He looked at the two of them. You're not just running anymore. You're surviving. Vela nodded slowly. We won't stop, she said. Not until Cal is safe, outside. The storm roared louder, but inside, there was warmth. Not just from the heater, but from something stronger, hope, and the will to keep going. 3 more days passed. The storm planet kept them hidden, but it also made life hard. Power levels dropped low, food ran short, and the air filters needed repair. Derek knew they couldn't stay much longer. We need to move again, he said. As he checked the cracked control panel, this place is safe, but not for long. Vela sat with Cal wrapped in her arms. Her eyes looked tired, but her voice was steady. Then we go to the colony, she said. The one Rena told us about. Derek nodded. I uploaded the coordinates before we left, but it's far, and if we're followed again. Cal looked up. We'll make it, he said. We always do. So they left the storm planet behind. The cargo ship shook as it rose through lightning clouds one last time. Once they were above the sky, Derek turned the engines toward a part of space few traveled. The journey took 5 days. The space around them grew darker, colder, and more empty. No signals, no ships, no patrols, just silence. Finally, the colony appeared on the scanner. Not on any map, not on any trade route. It was built inside a hollow asteroid, hidden deep in a nebula. A place no one was meant to find. As they approached, a voice came through the radio. Unknown ship, you are entering restricted space. Turn back or state your reason. Derek leaned forward. This is Pilot Derek Cole, Civilian I. Carry a refugee and her child from tyranny. We seek protection. There was silence. Then another voice replied, deeper and colder. Send your ID and her medical records. Derek glanced at Vela. Do you trust them? He asked. She hesitated. We don't have many choices, so Derek sent the files. The voice returned. Softer this time, permission granted. Follow Beacon 7, Docking Port 2. As they entered the colony, Cal pressed his face to the window. He saw buildings carved into rock. Walkways glowing with soft blue lights. No soldiers, no weapons, just quiet people. Moving carefully through tunnels, they landed inside a large bay. A team of humans and aliens stood waiting. Some wore lab coats, others wore simple clothes. No one held a weapon. A woman with short gray hair stepped forward. I'm Dr. Alira, she said. We've been expecting you. Derek raised an eyebrow, expecting us. She smiled. Rena sent a message before you left. She said you were carrying someone very important. Alice stepped down the ramp with Cal beside her. Alira's eyes softened when she saw them. You're safe here, she said. No. One will touch you again. They were taken to a quiet room with clean beds, fresh food, and medical scanners. Alira stayed with them, watching Vela's healing process carefully. This place, Derek asked her later, why is it hidden? Alira looked around the room before answering. We were all like her, she said. It's unwanted, hunted, forgotten, scientists, doctors, even soldiers who refused orders. We built this colony to protect the ones like us. Vela sat up, her strength returning. You're from different species, she said. Humans, Serex. And Varnins, how did you work together? Alira smiled. Pain teaches cooperation, and kindness keeps it alive. Cal explored the colony halls with a boy named Tamir. He laughed for the first time in weeks. He saw greenhouses filled with alien plants, a classroom, and a library, full of strange books. This place is like magic, Cal whispered. Derek watched him from a distance, a small smile on his face. But that smile faded when he met Alira later in her office. We intercepted a signal 2 days ago, she said. Quietly, Derek's body tensed. From who? The hunters, Alira replied. They're scanning nearby systems. They don't know you're here yet, but they're close. Derek clenched his fists. They won't stop. No, Alira said. But this time, maybe we fight. Back. Derek looked surprised. You have weapons. Not many, Alira said. But we have minds. We've hidden too long if we don't make a stand soon. They'll find others like Vela and Cal. Derek thought for a moment. He looked at the image of Cal on the monitor, smiling beside Tamir. They deserve peace. He said. Alira nodded. They do. Later that night, Vela sat under a dome window. She looked at the stars without fear. Cal sat beside her, holding her hand. This place is different. He said, it feels like home. Vela nodded. Slowly, maybe it can be. But just outside the nebula, in the cold of space. 3 dark ships moved silently. Their scans were slow, their patterns wide. But they were patient, and they were getting closer. The hidden colony slept under the soft glow of nebula light, but deep in the control center. Alarms flashed red. 3 enemy ships had entered the outer edge of the system. They're scanning every rock. Alira said, watching the screens. They're getting close. Derek stood beside her, his jaw tight. They'll find us soon, he said. We can't outrun them this time. Vela walked into the room, limping slightly, but standing tall. She looked at the map on the screen. They followed my blood all this way, she said. This ends now. We're not ready to fight them, Alira said. We have no army. We have us, Vela replied, and that's enough. Cal sat in the hallway, listening quietly. His small hands were clenched into fists. He didn't understand everything, but he understood one thing. Clearly, his home was in danger again. He got up and walked away, unnoticed. While the grown-ups planned, he had a different idea. He found the old radio tower inside the colony. It was quiet, dusty, and barely working. But Cal had watched Derek use a comm before. He turned it on, adjusted the dial, and leaned close to the mic. "This is Cal," he said softly. "A boy from Tyranny. My mom is a good person, and she needs to be safe. There are others like her, and they need help too. If anyone hears this, please help us." He didn't know if anyone would listen. But he sent the message across space, over and over, a child's voice. Small but full of courage. Meanwhile, the hunters were almost upon them. Alira had evacuated the outer buildings. Everyone was moved into the central dome for safety. "Will seal the doors and block their scanners," Alira said. "It might buy us time." Derek stood near the entrance, holding a blaster. He wasn't a soldier, but he would fight. "They won't get past me," he said. Vela stood beside him. She had no weapon, just her will. "They tried to break me once," she said. "They failed." As the enemy ships entered the outer shell of the asteroid, Cal's signal reached a nearby space relay. It bounced across the sector, through stations, trade routes, and forgotten satellites, and one of those signals was picked up by a patrol ship, a human vessel called Harmony's Light. Captain Arlen sat up straight as the message played. He listened twice, then stood from his chair. "Plot a course," he said. "We're going to find that boy." Back at the colony, the first blast hit the outer wall. The asteroid shook. Rocks fell from the ceiling. But the doors held. Derek fired a warning shot through the viewing hole. The hunter troops backed off, but only for a second. They regrouped, ready to strike again. "We can't hold forever," Alira said. "Do we have backup?" "No," Derek said quietly. "Only each other." Then something changed. A loud sound echoed through the sky. New engines roared above the asteroid. A beam of golden light sliced across the dark. One of the hunter ships exploded. Everyone looked. Up at the monitors, a new fleet had arrived, human patrol ships. 5 of them. One voice came through the comms. "This is Harmony's Light, responding to a distress signal from a boy named Cal. Hold on down there. We've got you." Tears filled Vela's eyes. Cal smiled. "They heard me," he whispered. "They really heard me." The hunter ships tried to flee, but the patrol fleet was too fast. One by one, they were disabled, chased off, or destroyed. Inside the colony, cheers echoed through the halls. The people had been quiet for so long, but now their voices were full of hope. Hours later, Captain Arlen and his team arrived inside the colony. He met Cal first, kneeling to look him in the eye. "You saved everyone," the captain said. With just your voice, Cal looked down, shy. "I just wanted to help my mom." "You did more than that," Arlen said. "You helped a whole colony." Later, the captain spoke with Vela and Alira. He offered protection, supplies, and technology to shield the colony from future scans. "No one will find you again unless you want them to," he said. Vela thanked him, then looked at Derek. "You stayed with us, even when you didn't have to," she said. "Why?" Derek smiled softly. "Because sometimes," he said, "you hear someone calling for help, and you can't walk away." Cal walked over and hugged him. "You're family now," he said. The colony returned to peace. New walls were built, stronger than before, and deep inside. The memory of the boy's message was kept, a message that crossed stars, touched hearts, and saved lives. The end.